What do we look out for in this unusual championship?
What do we look out for? What do we want to see? I think are two different things. The league, I'm still trying to figure out what we've learned from the league. You know, we have certainly got 6-7 teams who can compete for the All-Ireland this year. But the thing I'm most curious about is how they're going to play. What's the winning style that's going to win the All-Ireland this year? And what I want it to be is a variety in attack with much more kick passing, like what we've seen from Kerry today, like the power plays from Monaghan. Obviously, Pierre wanted to see more of it. We all want to see more of that football, but I feel like the team that can get the balance right between the control plays and then when they get a turnover, or when they win a primary possession from a kick out, that they have intent in relation to kicking the ball and using diagonal passes and using the 3-up rule to their advantage. And that's certainly what I want to see. And if at the end of this year, at the end of this season, if it's a team that's their blueprint, you just feel it, then that's going to be the blueprint going forward. And my fear is that a team that runs a controlled game, minds the ball, has defensive structure, still comes out on top, and then we have a copycat syndrome. So I suppose I'm thinking that it's going to be the variety in attack that's going to come out this year. You know, we've seen the 4 teams this week. The 4 teams that won were the 4 teams that showed more intent going forward. And I'm hoping that's the way the championship plays out.
Bit of control in some of those All-Irelands you won, Paul Flynn.
There certainly was.
Are we
arguing that when I was playing, though.
Are we going to see that next week in Ballybuffet?
See what?
Are we not
controlled football.
Which one? Is it going to be controlled or is it going to be what Paul wants?
Style, I don't think is going to win it. The style of football is going to win it next week. I think it's about personnel and Derry are minus key players next week, and that's why I believe they're not going to win. Nothing to do with style of football or anything else. So moving forward, if Kerry were to be without Paddy or David, I wouldn't care what their style of football is. I don't think they'll win the All-Ireland. So I agree with Paul from a point of view that the new rules suit those teams that want to attack, that want to move the ball quicker. You know, we've already highlighted the amount of one-on-one situations that are developing now inside. So the team with the best forward should be coming out on top. But there'll be plenty of managers will have their say on how to counteract that. But without a doubt, I think the league has been positive from an overall point of view in the amount of really good games. Disappointing the way it ended up today, the league final. I think it wasn't a fitting final for the amount of really good football that was played throughout the rest of the league. But I would be anticipating there's going to be some one-sided games. There'll be plenty of mistakes by players, by referees, I'm sure. But we should be set for an intriguing championship. Is that the word?
Says the Ulster man. We know Ulster is going to be intriguing and it's going to be competitive. You look at one half in particular of Leinster. We don't know fully the other half actually for once this year. And you look particularly at next week's game between Carlow and Meath. So earlier on in this week, Shane Curran stepped down as the Carlow manager. A very strange statement released by their county board in which it was suggested that it was player issues. The players themselves then released their own statement rejecting all of that as well. And then we heard last night that 2 really important members of Meath's backroom team in Martin Corey and an old soldier of this man beside you, Joe McMahon, have stepped down from their management team as well.
When things like this happen at the end of the year, they can cause chaos, but at least you've got time to fix them. 1 week out from a championship game, this is unrecoverable. Both teams are in the same position. Both teams are going into a week with uncertainty. All the things that you don't want. You want the same battle rhythm going into every championship game, and you have a bit of structure about it, and they have chaos, and it's never a good situation. Don't know the ins and outs as to why other situations have unfolded, but what I do know is what's left behind is chaos, and that's not what you need this week.
Overall, we've time for one more question. So what do you expect to see in Championship 2025, and who do you expect to be there right at the death? Yeah,
first of all, I'm very disappointed with Joe and Martin stepping away. 2 great men, 2 great coaches. So again, everybody's in the dark as to what's going on in the background there. Serious loss to Meath. Unfortunately, I think there's going to be some one-sided games in the championship ahead. Nothing to do with the new rules. It's all to do with the provincial setups, and there's going to be really strong teams playing against weaker teams. As we get towards the end of the championship, I expect to see a really competitive All-Ireland. As Paul mentioned earlier, there are 5 or 6 teams very capable of winning it. To me, the team we've seen today, if they can keep all their players on the pitch, they're going to be there in the last Sunday in July. And the team that's going to beat them could be from up north, but it might be the Donegal.